You're listening to After the Review with Peter and Terrell. New episodes of our podcast are available every Tuesday afternoon on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. If you like our content, remember to comment, share, and subscribe, and enjoy the episode. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is After the Review with Peter and Terrell. I'm your host, Peter, and with me, as usual, is my man, Terrell. Terrell, so what's up with our boy Kyrie right now, huh?
I think it's not much wrong with Kyrie. Hope you're doing well, Pete, by the way. You know, in Texas, things are getting crazy.
Yeah, we're doing okay. But Kyrie doesn't want to play. Kyrie doesn't want basketball to come back for us.
He does not that he doesn't want basketball to come back. He just thinks there's a bigger problem at hand that we could be solving. He feels basketball could shine a light, should take away from that light that we're all focused on right now. All in all, you know, I respect Kyrie's, decision in that he feels that way. And I can't really, it's hard for me to say I disagree with Kyrie because he does have a point here. I know it's weird to say, like, you know what, you should play basketball. You can do both because maybe, playing basketball will, bring some of those protesters in. Like you've mentioned, if there's protesting going on, like half those people wouldn't be out, in the streets or whatever. So I feel like he has a point here.
For those who don't know, Kyrie came out against the NBA's plan to open up in Orlando because he said there's bigger issues afoot that need to be taken care of before they play basketball. Kyrie, I understand the sentiment. Kyrie's probably the worst messenger for this. I know they say don't shoot the messenger, but if this was a united front from some players, they could have picked somebody better than Kyrie. There's already, first of all, Kyrie's hurt and Kyrie's not playing. So nothing matters to him at this point from a playing standpoint, and it's not like the Nets are going to win anything with him and Durant not playing. Second, he already has the bad stigma for killing that locker room in Boston, and he left Braun, and I don't know, he talks about the earth being flat. So Kyrie isn't the best optical person for this. And I think some guy said it best, like, so if we play, everybody's going to be watching us every day, and we're going to have a microphone in front of us every day, and you know what? You can refuse to answer basketball questions, and you can just talk about social issues every day for 3 months. And I think that's a much bigger platform than everyone just sitting out, because then people will just be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. That is a way you can tack it, and I'm not saying that you can't go that way, but I also see Kyrie does have a point. If we don't play basketball all together, and you're like, this might be a time for real change, and then like, all right, these players aren't playing around, like they mean change, like basketball won't come back until we see change, and so I feel like that's just as much as a driving force as in somebody interviewing about it every day. If we get something taken away from us that we really value, we'll do whatever we want, whatever we can to get that back. So I do see both sides to it. I feel like there's no real wrong or right, but I think at the end of the day, we will get basketball and it will happen. Just think,
to
Kyrie
be fair, we don't have it. We don't have basketball right now, so it's not like we're losing basketball. Like if
but we got excited for the thought of basketball.
I know, but it's like, ooh, the thought gets us excited, and then it's like, and that doesn't happen. It's a little less impact. Now, if we were about to, like, the playoffs were about to start, and we've had basketball this entire time, and they say we're not playing the playoffs until shit gets done. Now you're really cooking with fire. I don't want to say okay with, I'm saying that's a real impactful move right there. That's a power play from a player standpoint. So that was just that.
Also, I think you forget this, or some people forget that Kyrie Irving is the vice president of the NBA Players Union. So this isn't like weird for him to speak out. Like, he has his platform, he has his title, to do things like this, and this is probably the reason why he felt that he was the right person to bring all these people together. So he does have that title, and he is holding that position to a responsibility that he's doing. So I don't know. I don't see it too far fetched. At the end of the day, I think Pat Bev said it best. If LeBron wants to play basketball, we'll play basketball. But like not saying in that sense, but I feel like at the end of the day, basketball we'll play basketball. I think there's also
Daddy says we're playing.
I also think there's some more concerns about the bubble in itself, because Disney is slowly going to open up, and the bubble that it requires for all these players, they didn't know it was going to be so intense. So I think that's another thing that's kind of like slowing this process down. along with the Black Lives Matter movement and protest. So I think there's a couple things that's going into it. I feel like I know a couple players aren't too happy about the bubble situation.
Yeah, I that is a real concern because they didn't seem like they have it hugely planned out. I know Adam Silver came out and said if a player doesn't want to show up, he doesn't have to show up, and it's not going to count against him. But I think they said something like half the teams are going to be gone by 40 days. So really, you're only in it for a month, and if you make it past the first round, you get those 8 games done. You get through the first round.
Supposedly.
So I mean, you're gonna. At that point, if you're in like the conference semifinals, you would have to say you believe you have a shot to win the title, like a legitimate shot. At least I know we may not,
They all think they have a legitimate shot.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so 40 days isn't that bad though of a lockdown. So like once you get bounced out of the first round, it's like 44 days. I think they said by the end of the first round that they would have been locked down. That's a tough month, but you can do a month. Let's be honest. In quarantine, making X amount of money, and half that for 2 weeks you'll be playing very competitive games. You'll be playing playoff games, essentially. So that is an issue. I heard Kyrie, now, you could shoot this down if you want. Kyrie was a little rubbed the wrong way because he wasn't included on that elite players call a month ago to come out in favor of restarting the league and have a unified front with Braun, Giannis, Kawhi, Curry, Durant, and Russell. So maybe he's rubbed him a little wrong way. Maybe he doesn't want LeBron to win another title.
I don't know. I can see that he feels a little rubbed the wrong way about that. I don't know if there's a reason why he was taken off the call. I don't know if there's there was like a threshold or because it feels like no one from the same. Because James Harden was left off on it too. It feels like no one from the same team got essentially thrown on it. It was just like we had LeBron, Giannis, Kawhi, Steph, KD, Russell. So everyone from different teams. I'm pretty sure Dame Lillard was on there too. So James Harden could be saying the same thing right now.
Yeah, but James Harden thinks they can win a title, so he wants to play.
I know, but I just think it was like there's no need for us to have two of the same players on the same team talking. Because, that team has been spoke for, essentially.
I know, but I get it. And then Kyrie... So I bet you James Harden didn't really care. He was like, all right, Russell, be on the call. I trust Russell to do it. Kyrie's the other way. He's like, why is Durant on the call? It needs to be me. Because the Kyrie and Durant situation, it's just weird. It's just two very different guys on top of everything.
Yeah. I can see Kyrie being hurt about that, but also see, that's just, I feel like he wasn't, we're spinning our way.
I agree.
Story out of something.
I like the real conspiracy that he doesn't want, because Braun's, favorite to win a title. He doesn't want Braun to win a title without him.
I don't believe. They're good. They thought it was a small chance that Kyrie thought about coming to the Lakers this offseason. So I think they're all good.
I know, but the more and more things go on, the worse and worse the divorce looks from Kyrie leaving LeBron. It just spins his, it really tarnishes his legacy bad. Because it's.
I think he'll get one. He'll get one in Brooklyn now. So okay.
We hope. You hope. You think. You don't know.
It's best for him and KD to get one in Brooklyn.
Yeah, but all right, we're definitely gonna play basketball, like Pat Bev said. I don't know if Pat Bev was taking a shot at LeBron,
he was
taking
a shot at LeBron.
That's what I thought because it's Pat Bev.
He was trying to take a shot, but
yeah, that's good. We need because all we need in that rivalry is more fire. They've already been going back and forth with each other for the last month and a half. It feels like.
Yeah, I think it's Pat Bev and Pat Bev, whatever it is.
Yeah, he's the Draymond Green of the Clippers, I guess. Just a lot of talking, a lot of defense.
Yeah.
A lot of talking. All right. Another thing. Different. Yes, but you get it. It's he's the muscle of the team.
Gotcha.
So, another thing I want to get at is Ja. So Ja came out, and Ja Morant, gonna win Rookie of the Year for those who aren't aware, came out and wrote a letter to a governor in where was this? It was in Kentucky, where Murray State is, where he went to school, talking about the removal of Confederate statue, and I felt like Ja got really unfair pushback from people. Like, people were ripping on him. It was like, oh, why you want to tear down the statue? It's like, okay, so people are just tearing down statues left and right, not asking for anything. They're just doing it, which is destructive and bad. Ja goes about it the right way, writes a well-worded letter for, 20 years old? I thought it was well-worded and expressed his point really good, and people are still mad about it. And it's like, what do you people want? Like, at a point, are you, like, at some point, like, you people just racist? Like, you don't want people to tear down the statues, but then when someone asks to get it torn, like, you get it removed in a legal way, or we have a vote or something like that, you still don't want it? So it's like, what's going on? I don't get it. I think it's really unfair, or like, I don't know. It really rubbed me the wrong way to see some of the reaction to Ja's letter.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you think? There's still racist people out there, people who somewhat see this as a symbolization or whatever. Those are probably the people who are upset about him asking to get taken down. I'm all for getting all those taken down. I think some of these also army bases name needs to be changed. There's a lot of things that need to be changed that have been brought to light. But it's it's gonna take time, I think, to make that happen. And also, I don't know if voting is the best way to go about it. Honestly, I think someone in the office, in one of those government offices, should make a decision about it. Because think about it, if we got every black person to vote, we still wouldn't get the number of votes we need for it to get taken down.
No, but I think there's a large coalition of white people that would vote for it too, which is a large voting bloc. Especially, let's just talk Confederate statues in particular, because this is an issue. If you learn the history of this stuff, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm okay with them getting torn down. I'm a big history person. I don't like any of this crap. You learn from your past and stuff like that. They're a great reminder. You repeat the past if you don't learn from it. But they weren't even put up after the Civil War. They were put up in Jim Crow for racist reasons and, bullshit like that. So you can take them down if you want to put them all in a museum, or you want to put a plaque in its place and talk about what was here and why it was there and then why we took it down. I'm all for that. It's all more education. But the Confederate statue is bullshit. And then, hold up. The Confederacy was literally traitors to the United States of America. They left the U.S. So why are we honoring these people? Because they were Americans technically, but they were traitors. So the more and more I thought about it, because at first I just didn't care. And then it's the more and more you think about it and read about it, it's like, oh, this is bullshit. Let's just take it down. Who cares? Like, this is dumb to have up.
So I agree with you. You said it. Point on. I can't. I have anything to add there.
And then let's talk, because NASCAR. I don't know if we talked about it last week. NASCAR banned the Confederate flag at racing events, and again, this is another thing, and I think this is perfect, for a white person to talk about this. I never really thought anything of it either. I was like, okay, whatever. It's the Confederate flag. Like, yee. Everyone knows that's just a Southern boy thing. But then when I was living with Dalston, and the conversation came up in 2014 or 2013, whenever, about, they were talking about getting the Confederate flag removed from something because it's been a topic. And he's like, yeah, I never got that. Why is it still up? That just kind of bothered me. I was like, oh, that bothers you? It's like, yeah, man, it's pretty racist. I'm like, okay, well then why do we have it? It's something I would have never thought. I never thought about anything like that. Look, there you go. Talk about, white privilege and stuff like that. Things I wouldn't even think about. So it's like, okay, I'm against that then. That's easy. So I agree. I'm glad things are getting changed, and I think we're doing a very good job of bringing to light what affects the black community, certain things in a very reasonable and responsible way. Instead of just a lot of yelling and screaming, I think it's a lot of good talking and be like, hey, this is offensive. This is why it bothers us. And I think 90% of people are reasonable and just be like, all right, you're right, that is. We're going to get this fixed.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of this has been done the right way and gone about the right way. We've had the right leaders step up and say something that really, means something that people we listen to, we look up to. So I feel like a lot of the stuff is, it's gone the right way and done the right way. Alvin Kamara was actually at the NASCAR race this past weekend after they banned that flag. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's like, not saying like, it's going to bring more black people out, but, it's a cool step to see and different things like that.
Oh, yeah, because Bubba Wallace, the only black driver, got it put through, basically. He's like, let's get it banned. And he had the Black Lives Matter car all done up. And it's it's good. You know what? Let's get more black people watching NASCAR. Maybe if there are bad people down there and you start hanging out with them, you find out everyone's just a person and everyone's cool. It's like not that hard.
Yeah, I totally agree there. I'm glad we're seeing change. So
What
that's what I got there for it.
Now let's move to college football because they kind of had a couple issues coming up this week about boycotting. Teams are talking about boycotting and stuff. Let's start with Texas, our favorite university that we all enjoy. They want to get all the building names changed and they want to ban the fight song, which I don't know. Did you talk to your cousin about this at all, Drawn?
No, I have not talked to him about this at all. I have talked with my friend who goes to UT and is in UT Law School. So, I don't know like how long it takes to, obviously you ban a fight song, you gotta come up with a new one, or I don't know what the whole process is or what it entails. I'm sure I don't see a reason why you would not ban it after everything and coming out, especially if these athletes threat to, not recruit or help, university in any way. So I would, definitely be on my toes trying to get it moved.
That's tough though with the fight song. That's
Go ahead. Why do you think it's tough?
Well, because it's a big alma mater, big booster kind of thing. That does not rub boosters the right way. I can just tell you that. And Texas got some big time boosters over there, forking money over.
I don't disagree that they have big time boosters, but like, what if they don't have football this season? What are these big time boosters gonna do? What if they don't have a basketball team? They don't have like have all these sports. Like what if these athletes really come together and band together and like we're not gonna play, because of these reasons? I feel like these boosters will give in.
I did feel like the fight song was a little bit soft on the request. I thought it was a little bit grasping at strings. That's just from my personal opinion. I'm okay with them changing the building names. Hey,
which building names they're trying to change?
They were trying to change a bunch of them. They had a list of just athletic building names that were named after, racist or slave owners or something like that. And it was okay. There were some demands in there that they were just like a little bit demanding. It was like, okay, let's name a building after Cedric Benson, famous Longhorn football player, passed away. Let's name a building after Ricky. Let's name one after Vince. I'm okay with that. That seems fine with me. They wanted to name one of the buildings maybe in the Hall of Fame or the Hall of Exhibits after the first black player to play at Texas. I'm totally fine with that. That's easy, but it's like the fight song. You are choosing, I can understand the building names, but you are choosing to go to school there. It's not like everyone's being forced to go to school there. And this kind of plays into the whole Chuba Hubbard thing that happened yesterday with Mike Gundy. And he got mad because Mike Gundy, you get what I'm saying though?
No, I don't get what you're saying, so I would like for you to explain more.
So you're just like, you get to pick where you go to school. Like Chuba, okay, so let's get into the Chuba Hubbard thing too, because this is what kind of plays into it. Mike Gundy was wearing a shirt for One News America Network or some. It's a very right-wing news network, and Chuba was mad about it, and Chuba said, I'm not going to play, and then their best defensive player came out and said, yeah, we're with you and stuff. Chuba knew you know where you're going to school. Like, I get your coach is a different thing. You want to respect your coach and stuff, but you're in Trump country when you're going to school at Oklahoma State. And it's not like Chupa didn't have everywhere in the country to choose to go.
No, I think we're missing the point here.
Oh.
Chuba's like, yes, I understand where I'm at, and I think a lot of these players do. But it's like, what's another thing for my coach to be outright? My coach who recruited me to come here. So
I'm with that.
Who sat in my house, talked to my parents, hey, he's going to take care of me, blah, 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 all this stuff.
You can't play for a guy you don't trust.
You can't play for a guy essentially who's going to wear, that type of thing. I don't think it has anything to do with Oklahoma State. I think he's aware of what things are going on in Oklahoma State, but I feel like he wasn't okay with what he saw, which is totally understandable. But I think this can catapult to other things, and I was little. It's like if he was just say he was a Trump supporter, would Chuba still be mad at him? Because you can't really get mad at the guy who the guy essentially,
votes for
votes for whatever. Like his vote is his vote because your vote might be different. But I think it's more of him wearing a shirt in the situation in the time. I think that's more what it is, other than him, being a Trump supporter or whatever. I think at the end of the day, I think Chuba probably doesn't care. I mean, he probably cares, but doesn't really care too much that, Mike Gundy's, if he puts his vote down for Trump, whatever. It's more of the situation, the awareness of Mike Gundy was really poor, I think, of wearing that shirt at this time.
Well, it's not like Mike Gundy's not notorious for having a little bit of a, he was out early on coronavirus saying, "Hey, we'll just bring them back. They'll be here. They're young men. They'll be healthy."
Yeah.
It was kind of fits his thing. So
totally fits his thing. I think that's more of the case than Chuba like being like, oh look, I'm at Oklahoma State where it's super red state. Like him open his eyes and like finally realizing. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it more deals with like my coach who I play for, is out here doing this in this time. I think that's more of the case.
Yeah, they did have a little video yesterday, and I thought Chuba gave in a little bit. Him and Gundy did a video together talking about it, and it felt like the power went back to Gundy. Like Gundy pointed at him and was like, "All right, now your turn to talk." Chuba, when he was like apologizing and stuff, and they were gonna work together, I was like, they could have really, really put the power or the pressure on. Like they came out and said something, and then make Mike Gundy, really have to earn it. So I didn't love I want to say the reply video that happened immediately that day after, because I mean it was a matter of hours that these two events happened. So I didn't.
Yeah, I think Gundy figured it out, and he like rushed, where it seemed like he just threw his Oklahoma State T-shirt, jacket, polo on, and rushed to the facility to figure it all out, or he was at his office or whatever, and, and to get it all together.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like it was super. I feel like it was like a quick, like, hey, I'm calling a team meeting in like 30 minutes. I need everyone to be here. I feel like you let obviously. I'm not a college head coach. So I don't know how long you let these things stew and stew over before you make an announcement. I feel like the sooner the better in that situation.
Yeah.
You could talk to your team that way, and then I guess you have to follow up to the public, pretty soon to show you're making changes.
I mean, let's be fair. It's not like I don't think Mike Gundy's a racist. I mean, that the man infamously cried about his black quarterback saying, you're harassing him. Ask me, I'm a man. I'm 40. I can handle y'all. And, going out of line for his players. So yeah, I think it was just, again, he has a shirt, whatever. How it feels like college football coaches are oblivious to like 90% of things anyway, right? They're so in their own bubble when it comes to just sports.
I totally agree. I would love to go back to this Texas thing and this Texas. I know they want to take down the buildings. They want to take down the buildings, but I think it's so hard to because the people pay for these buildings. That's how they get their names after them. I'm assuming, right? This is how this works.
Well, not all of them.
How it works. I know that's how this works. But are some of those buildings the scenarios like where someone's paid for the building? That's why their names,
But they're old. They're like old buildings, I think, with like, former alum or like they were. There were a list of reasons why they were bad. They were Jim Crow or part of the slavery past.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm sure that they're bad, but like, are these like, okay, is it like essentially like the Del Monte family has paid for this back in
whatever, it's still there,
yeah, whatever, and it's like the family tradition, it's still there. So there's someone to speak for this building or this name. So I think honestly, that's harder to change because it's like we get money involved, and that's where things get a little iffy. Other than I think the song would be easier to change just because that comes from the university president, and he says, hey, we're just gonna change this song, and then whatever. If you kick me out, you kick me out. Like I think that's much easier to change to some of these buildings.
I feel like people are more attached to the song than they are to a building name. As a former student,
no, I totally agree. You're right. They're more attached to a song, but it's all about what's the right thing to do though. What's the right thing?
Texas has got money. I'm sure they're not going to struggle for somebody to pay for the new building name.
You're not wrong, but what's the right thing to do? If so, let's put it in our shoes. If it was A&M and we had some,
well, there's already talk about taking down the Sol Ross statue at A&M.
I know, I saw that. Kellen Mond wants that down.
I want Kellerman to complete a 5-yard slant.
No. Stick to the topic at hand. Stick to the topic at hand. How do you feel about that? I haven't done ton of research, so I can't combat with the.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of diving, and it's always going to be bad. He did a lot of good for the school when he was the president, but as people will say, it was all white. It was also all male. We were a military school at a point in time for most of our history. We came back. So you can say these things, and I get it. He was a Confederate general, and he was like part of the Texas Rangers. So I really think it has to. Does the good outweigh the bad and stuff like that?
Like what is it gonna do if we remove the statue? Are you gonna be like, oh, I missed this, the statue there? Is that really gonna upset you then?
I think it plays into the tradition aspect of the school, because we all know Sully. I mean, Monsters Inc. Big Sully is named after Saul Ross because of the animator at Disney went to A&M. So it plays into the whole tradition thing.
Well, that's a deep dive there, man.
I know, right? It plays into the tradition thing. It's like, okay, that's really like the only statue on our campus that like everyone knows. Everybody knows the Sully statue. You put your penny on there for when you take a test or finals for good luck. It's a big, 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 big tradition thing. And so I'm okay with I'm okay with
There's got to be somebody else that we could make a statue of and replace it with.
Johnny?
It's got to be. No, that's not giving me any good luck in life. No offense, Johnny, but I'm just saying, I don't think I'm going to put my opinion on you before a test.
But that's the problem, though. A&M's such an old school when it was an all-white military academy for a long, long time. So if you look for somebody who's old in that part of history, it's going to be. There's always going to be nobody's perfect, and
no, I'm not getting you wrong. No one's perfect.
Everyone is racist.
There's a line to be drawn, right?
Yes, but it's like, where does the line draw? And like, everybody's racist from 1950 compared to today, and the further you go back, they're even more racist compared to today. It's always going to happen. We grow and change as a society, and so I'm okay if we want to put. It's not a big statue either, which is kind of weird.
So my thing is, you told me this weekend. What? How does it affect your life if they take down the statue? What does it do to you?
I think it just affects the tradition of the university as a whole. It makes you feel bad. You don't feel as good as a university. It's school pride. Like,
do you like? What about for people like essentially for me, where it makes me feel uncomfortable that's up at my school?
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel? So it makes it seem like you're inconsiderate about my feelings. Not that I'm not inconsiderate about your feelings, but it seems like school pride is more important than
how you feel. Again, this is bad because you don't necessarily know about the statue when you choose to go to school there or whatever, because colleges are different. It's not like a high school or whatever. They're named after Robert E. Lee or something. You choose where you go to school, but there are some restricting factors.
To be honest, I don't know a ton about it. So
you're just playing. You're offended by.
I'm not saying hey, we should bring this down. I'm just being devil's advocate.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's what the conversation's good for. So you're playing. You're offended. So, we could put a big. Like I said, I'm a big fan of putting big plaques on stuff and explaining these things, why the statue is here or why it's there. Because right now it's just a little stand that says Sol Ross on it. It's really that simple. You could put a big plaque right in front of it and say, this is why he was good for the university. Here are some of the bad things, here. I
don't know if we necessarily want to highlight. So what if someone was like, okay, let's put, some, I guess, essentially a black person, make him a statue, and then we'll be like, okay, we can leave the Sol Ross statue. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, I don't know but where are we gonna? Again, it's where we're gonna find one at A&M. It's not like we're the most multicultural path.
No. I totally agree. And I'm just like, I'm trying to think of another scenario because I'm with you. I'm like, if it's a tradition, if it actually means something to the school, but also it's weird because it probably makes some people feel uncomfortable. But like at the end of the day, what's the percentage of the people who actually feel uncomfortable because A&M is predominantly white school? Like, but does that matter? I don't know. You know, that's
Yeah,
the question.
it's very complicated because I think A&M's A&M is like the perfect university to kind of highlight all these things because we come from, straight white male military background for the longest part of our history, I think until the 60s before, we allowed women and minorities in. But that's so antithetical to what the A&M tradition is right now. Like, we're all Aggie's brother, it's a super tight-knit group of people.
It's a cult.
It's a cult to those not involved.
Yeah, it's essentially a cult that cult we hopefully doesn't see color.
Yeah. So I think this is a perfect example because we have so much old tradition that is negative in an aspect, but it bred a community that is great to be a part of and is inclusive to everybody. I think. I don't know. It feels like, we're just one big happy family. I mean, shoot, if we do muster.
I mean, there is a little, I would say there's a little tint. There's a little, more than most universities, you would feel that some of the, the racism would be. But I feel like, going there, I felt, it felt like I was never in harm's way, or, no one has ever called me the N-word or anything like that. All the people have been really respectful. Although I didn't bark in some of those territories where it possibly could be, but I feel like for all in all, it's one of those places that I felt pretty safe as being a colored man.
Yeah, as I like to joke, one of the 5 guys that doesn't play sports that goes there, one of the 5 black guys. Exactly. But I agree, you might, but here's the little thing. I like to believe this could be my blind spot and optimism bias because I wouldn't know. If somebody was a racist and you were face to face with them, like in public, not attached, and they had an Aggie ring on, and you showed them your Aggie ring, maybe I would like to think that would change things a little bit. Like
I think it would totally change things for something. It would change something. It would I don't know what it necessarily would do. I don't know if it depends on the situation. I don't know.
Yeah, say it's a tense situation where things are maybe going south really quickly and this person isn't maybe not necessarily great, but then it's like, okay, wait, I'm an Aggie, you're an Aggie, like, oh.
And I think that essentially would essentially override the racism. And then I would hope that he would take from that is like, you know what, like, I shouldn't be as racist because there's people who went to school just like me or whatever, and in a sense.
It's like, we share the same value. Wait, we share the same values. Because that's pretty much what the Aggie ring shows to everybody. It's like, we share the same values, X, Y, and Z from the school. So
totally. And I would hope that would change the scenario, but we don't know that for sure. Like I said, though, at my time at A&M, you could definitely sense, not sense the racism.
It's like Southern country kind of maybe has that feel. It's a little good old boy.
Yeah, it's like it's the good old boys. Like someone would drop it in a heartbeat if this situation arises, but no one ever did. I feel like most people were really respectful. So,
and it's not like I feel super comfortable around all that stuff either. It's like I'm not a guy running around with like F-250s lifted and got my can of dip on. So
yeah, exactly.
So it's just like it's a thing. So hey, maybe A&M. This is it. A&M's gonna lead the charge to unite everybody. We're a perfect example. Let's do it.
I don't know what they should do about the statue. I think it's it's a double-edged sword because I also saw he did some good things for black people, but he something with him building Prairie View A&M or something like that.
Or
I'm not sure. Something with something of that nature. Obviously, I said I didn't do a ton of research on it. I just saw one tweet of someone defending it in. He says every good person has some bad,
exactly. That's
perfect,
it's a whole another thing. Like we can get on to, we see like everyone's trashing everybody about.
Yeah. Because we could probably go to some all statues and be like,
I just saw
that. Yeah,
I saw someone tearing down a Thomas Jefferson statue, and it's like, really. I mean, yes, he had slaves. He's also, I think I read like 4% of the black population in the United States is related to him. So,
Really?
yep, he was I mean, he wasn't.
Well,
Yeah, he was just like that was one of his slaves. She was his mistress. You know, she was definitely his girl. Wasn't like one of those power things from everything I've read. Like, you know, she was a side piece back then. He was getting around. They were freaky back then, Terrell. And so, but yeah. So he had slaves, bad person, but look at all the good he did for the country. He wrote the freaking Constitution, you know, the Declaration of Independence, and all that stuff. So, where's the good outweigh the bad? Everyone's got bad.
Yeah, everyone has bad. I'd love to touch on the kneeling thing that's going around. I know you don't care about it, and I truly don't.
I know you liked what I said about this when we were talking.
I know it's like it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect you. I think it mostly affects what we say. I guess what we say is mostly affects the people who fought in the army, who went overseas and fought. But I am now seeing more people come out to say, like, you know, that actually doesn't. Nate Bauer is the guy who played at Texas and he went to the army. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Is that his name?
I think
he
so.
was like, you know, he was like, yeah, this is not a problem with me at all. He's like, this has nothing. It's just dishonoring the flag. And I think if you know the reasoning why they're doing it, I don't think it dishonors the flag. But I don't want to speak for someone, you know, who's fought for our country or gone overseas. But I feel like this whole kneeling thing is kind of taking a turn and being more of a positive thing than a negative thing that it was at first. But we're gonna see. Go ahead.
I'm like 90% sure the whole kneeling thing, because at first Colin was sitting on the bench, so people forget this, and I'm like 90% sure he talked to a vet, and the vet said, well, how about you go up with your teammates, but you just take a knee or whatever instead of sitting on the bench. And I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to speak for military guys, but they fought for the freedom to do said things. Like, I feel like that's what a lot of that is. And I said, who the hell cares? This was my point when the kneeling started. It's been my point throughout the entire thing. I don't think Kaepernick's in the league because he's not a starting quarterback. Yes, he can absolutely be a backup in this league. Does he want to be a backup for the money? That's a whole different issue. Who cares? The kneeling doesn't affect me. The kneeling doesn't affect you. Let him do what he wants to do. If this is how he wants to express himself, he can express himself that way. He's not hurting anybody and not bothering you, not bothering me. And people are getting up in arms, and now everyone says they're going to kneel, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, how do you feel about this thing? Like, Bill O'Brien said he's going to kneel. Baker Mayfield said he's for sure going to kneel. It's like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Does it affect what he can do on the football field? I know I feel bad because I sound, you know, selfish or whatever because everyone's a person and they're an individual and stuff. But it's like, I watch you to play football, and I root for you for my fantasy team or my Vikings or whatever. And that's all. And I can disassociate everything else from it. You know, there's plenty of guys in the league that have done unsavory things, you know,
that we root for.
Yes, that we have no problem with. And it's, you know, maybe that's a knock on our character or whatever. So be it. I'm all okay with it. Like, play football. That's all I care about. You want to say what you want to say? You want to say crazy stuff? You want to be like Dennis Rodman? Whatever, man. Can you ball? That's all I care about.
We care about them as human beings too.
Yeah.
Yes, a little bit. I mean, yeah. I'm waiting for, you know, owners to come out and speak. Jerry Jones has not said a word yet.
Oh, he's getting a little under fire.
He's not said a word. I think he is in a very, I don't know. I think he's probably in a little sticky situation. I don't know.
He's getting called out by Des Bryant. I mean, they had the whole "we're not kneeling" thing, but he came out for the anthem with Dak and them a while ago. But they have more issues on their hands now because we haven't even talked about this. That the Cowboys got a little Corona outbreak, Zeke included, because they were not following the rules.
They follow the rules in Texas, and then they just happened to get it.
There are no rules in Texas.
My point. So that's probably what it was. I think so. Zeke got Rona. He'll probably be fine. I'm not shedding. Not that this like COVID thing's not serious, but let's be honest. He'll probably be fine.
Yeah,
I'm
we forget.
praying he's fine.
He's
fine.
Maybe take that into account when you're drafting your fantasy teams, ladies and gentlemen. That he ain't gonna have the legs for you in week 15.
They got oxygen tanks, man. If anybody will make him get through, it's NFL. They'll prepare anything you need to for him. But I think this is the first of many athletes we're going to see who test positive for it. Hopefully, like you said, hopefully it doesn't put damage on their lungs. I mean, it does, but hopefully it doesn't, to a place where it's
like permanent. Hopefully it's not permanent. Maybe the things were. It's hard to, you don't know. Like, what are the tests for these young, healthy people that don't have any symptoms really?
Yeah, I'm sure he feels the same as he did before he got it. Now that while he has it, I'm sure there's not much has changed. I'm sure he's just in isolation. So yeah, I would hope that everything's okay. But the NFL's said they're going to test guys about 3 times a week. They expect positive tests. It's so tricky. Is like, what happens when Mahomes gets COVID? I mean, positive for a week, and now I gotta have Chad Henne be my backup quarterback. Like, that's so, you know what I mean?
It's
what
weird.
Do you do?
Yeah,
right?
It's what do you do? Especially it's like you're negative, you're with the team, you're working out, and then all of a sudden you're positive.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like he's an injury where he can't play. It's more of an injury like he's gonna affect more people. I guess you got to look at it as if he would he twisted his ankle for a week.
But
I guess that's the way you got to look at it.
What does it do for rosters? Do you get to carry more guys? What if there's an outbreak of Rona on a team and a team loses 7 guys because they got Rona? Like, can we carry? Are we gonna extend rosters from so you're not cutting guys and then scrambling to pick people up and losing people?
Can my quarterback play with a mask?
Yeah,
LOL.
they are. They said they were suggesting like a face mask type cover, almost like a visor on the bottom to go with the top, so you can't breathe. Like, how you gonna see? Yeah, I know you're gonna be breathing through that thing. It's gonna be fogging up really bad. You'd be like, I can't see.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone to the store with your glasses on and a mask. Your glasses get foggy.
Yeah.
You have to. The way you breathe is makes it all. It all pushes up.
You've been struggling a little bit, Terrell.
I have been struggling. Okay, Pete, I'm gonna have to go. I'm getting a very important call, so you're gonna have to wrap this up. I'm so sorry.
All right. We'll wrap this up. All right. Okay.